Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review of the brand new Nike Mercurial Blade Hinge carbon fiber shin guards. This is the top of the line shin guard on offer from Nike. It has a retail price of $120 US, so yes, they are a little bit pricey, and for your $120, what you get as a package is a set of shin guards and a set of sleeves to hold the shin guards up. In today's video, we're going to go over all the details on the shin guards as well as the sleeves, talk about how they fit, and most importantly, the type of protection that they provide. So with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk about the shin guards themselves. Now, this is the second generation carbon fiber Mercurial Blade shin guard from Nike. And being that it is a second generation guard, they have made some changes, some that I think are very positive, and some that are, in my opinion, quite negative as far as changes are concerned. Now, starting off with the shape, you can see they really haven't messed around with it all that much. It's still anatomically fitted to the left and right leg, and features the same general shape as the rest of the Mercurial shin guard line. So if you've worn a Mercurial shin guard, either high end or low end in the past, these are going to fit and feel very similarly on your legs. You guys will see exactly how they fit, and I'll talk about the sizing when I put them on my shins a little bit later in the video, so stay tuned for that if you are at all interested. Now, in terms of the overall weight, obviously you would expect them to be pretty light given that they do feature a carbon fiber shell, and that they are. In a size large, one shin guard that I weighed in myself weighs in at about 2.7 ounces. So yes, it is very light enough to where you're not really going to notice these on your legs while you're playing, but certainly not the lightest shin guard that I've ever come across, especially in comparison to other shin guards within this ultra premium price range of over $100. Now, as far as the actual design is concerned, there are three major features that are really what are the selling points of the new Mercurial Blade Hinge. One being the carbon fiber shell, two being the actual hinge design, and three being the thick pour-on foam backing. Now, starting off with the shell, it's unique in that one, it's carbon fiber, and two, it's split pretty much right down the middle vertically, as you guys can see, with this brand new hinge design. Now, the shell itself is 100% carbon fiber, both sides. I know it's a little bit difficult to tell because of this Volt yellow graphic that covers up some of the carbon fiber, but you can see around the edges it is in fact carbon fiber. It's not plastic or anything like that. If that is something that you were wondering, it feels very, very solid. It's nice and rigid. It's very, very thin, as you guys can see, with really all the thickness to the shin guard being in the actual pour-on foam backing. So while it's very lightweight, while it fits extremely well, it's not necessarily the most low profile because you can see it does have some decent thickness to it. Now, because of that carbon fiber shell, like I said, it does have that premium look. It's very solid and provides decent protection, with the major new feature here being that hinge design. So it's split, like I said, almost right down the middle, slightly to the lateral side of the shin guard, as you guys can see. And the split itself is what's there to allow for more of a custom fit to these guards. So because of this little split, it's going to allow the shin guard to expand a little bit widthwise, or even become a little bit narrow depending on the exact shape of your shin. So they're really going for the best possible fit without making a truly custom shin guard, if that makes any sense. Now, as far as the hinge is concerned, it's something that I was a little bit curious about. You can see there is this little rubber strip right there down the middle, and that little strip is simply there to fill in the gap between the two sides of the shell. There isn't actually a hinge mechanism. In fact, all they've done here is they've glued the actual sides of the shell directly to this pour-on foam backing, and really that pour-on foam is what's providing all the structure for the hinge to actually work. So you can see that when I fold it, this hinge isn't actually doing anything other than just filling in that gap. And again, you're just getting rigidity from this actual foam. So you can see that little split right there is essentially where the shin guard is split, and that's what's preventing it from basically collapsing too far on itself. Now, the shell, like I said, very, very solid. But what I notice as far as protection is concerned is that the hinge mechanism kind of sacrifices or compromises the overall protection of the shin guard, which is kind of a negative thing. Now, when you have a solid shin guard, whether it's plastic or carbon fiber, when you get hit on the shin guard, whether it be to the left, to the right, or dead center, it does a decent job of dispersing that impact across the entire shin guard. And should you get hit here, that happens. Should you get here, that happens. But should you get hit right here on the actual hinge itself, you're going to notice that the shin guard kind of buckles in on itself, where you're not really getting any of the protection of this hard carbon fiber shell, and you're essentially getting kicked directly in the shin, with the only protection being this very soft, spongy pour-on foam. So again, the protection isn't bad with this particular shin guard, but I really don't like the Hinge design when it comes to the type of protection that it provides. Getting hit right in the middle of the shin guard is a pretty common act, and again, because of this Hinge design, I would say that this is not nearly as protective as what we got with the original Nike Mercurial Blade shin guard. So again, that Hinge design, like I said, does compromise the overall protection. Something to take note of if you were interested in a pair of these. Now, as far as that backing is concerned, it is pour-on foam. I believe the original was a dual layer pour-on foam, whereas this one is a single layer. As you can see, it does have some little etchings right here that are not only there to look cool, but also do a good job of kind of allowing the moisture to kind of fall into these little grooves and then wick away from the surface of the shin guard itself, keeping them as dry as possible. There's no extra material here. It's just straight up smooth, shiny pour-on foam. So it dries very quickly. It doesn't really absorb any moisture. So it maintains its nice 2.7 ounces, which is, like I said, very, very lightweight on your shins. And in terms of impact protection, pour-on foam is a proven protective type of foam. You see it a lot in all kinds of different protective equipment, so it's no real surprise that they've incorporated on their top end shin guard here. And again, no complaints regarding the backing whatsoever. My only complaint is actually with the Hinge design, not because it makes the shin guards fit better, because it does do that, but it doesn't necessarily make for the most protective design for the shell itself. As far as the sleeves are concerned, they are certainly nothing special, and considering the $120 retail price of these shin guards, I was expecting a little bit more. What you get is a set of sleeves that are made from a very thin, perforated, elasticated mesh material, and I mean that it's very thin. The problem that I have with these sleeves is, one, they're pretty much the same as what you're going to find with the lower end Mercurial shin guard models, aside from this little strip of oval rubber here on the inside of the sleeve. It's right there on the front, and it's there to actually grip the surface of the shin guard shell, and it does that effectively. It holds it in place a little bit better, but I honestly wish there would have been one of these on the top and bottom. And given that there's only one on the top, and the overall quality of the sleeves themselves, I still found that tape was very, very necessary to kind of help to hold the shin guards in place effectively throughout the entire length of a game or something like that. The other problem that I have with these shin guard sleeves is that the actual material itself isn't the greatest. It doesn't stretch a lot, and the actual kind of compression force that it provides is very, very minimal. So again, it doesn't necessarily clamp the shin guards against your legs very hard. So for that reason, they will slide around pretty easily. And when they are actually on your legs and at full stretch, the actual material, because it's perforated, because it's so thin, should you take any kind of significant impact to that area of the actual sleeve around the shin guard area, it's very likely that the sleeves will actually rip. So in terms of durability and actually holding the shin guards in place, like I said, these are well below average as far as shin guard sleeves are concerned. So if you're buying the Mercurial Blade Hinge guards, the sleeves are definitely not the main attraction. Alright, so here's a look at how the Mercurial Blade Hinge shin guards fit. As a reference, the ones that I'm wearing are a size large, and I'm about 5'11". Size large is normally the size that I wear, and you can see that they actually fit quite well. Again, it is a smaller style of shin guard, so they're really meant to sit a little bit higher up on your leg. They're not necessarily going to provide much in the way of lower leg or ankle protection, but again, that's just how they were designed. As far as fit is concerned, that Hinge design seems to work pretty well. Honestly, it's not the most useful thing to me personally, because I seem to fit quite well in the general Mercurial shape of shin guard without any kind of extra flexibility or change in the shape of the guard itself. So the Hinge feature, like I said, for me personally, isn't necessarily a big deal. But again, if you have particularly wide or narrow shins, then something like that little bit of extra flexibility that you get from the Hinge in the shell might actually help in allowing these shin guards to fit you a little bit better. As far as weight is concerned, again, they're nice and light. You're not really going to notice them. Again, here's a look at the sleeves themselves. Not necessarily the most effective. They definitely do the job while I'm standing here, but once you start running around for half an hour or so, you will find that they will fall down. So again, tape is definitely a requirement. And as far as how they sit on your shins, you can see that it does have some decent thickness to it, and they definitely are the thickest shin guard in this particular high-end price range. So again, if that's not something that bothers you, then this is definitely a shin guard that you should probably take a look at. But overall, that's pretty much it as far as how they fit, and I'll leave you to my final thoughts. So to sum up my thoughts on the Nike Mercurial Blade Hinge shin guards, I have to say they're good, but they're certainly not great. And I think great is almost expected when you charge over $100 for a pair of shin guards and they fall into that ultra premium category. Is this the best carbon fiber shin guard out there? The answer to that question is no. Is this the best fitting shin guard out there? The answer to that question is again no. Is it the most protective shin guard? Again, I would say that the answer is no. But as a package, is this a solid product? The answer to that question is an absolutely yes. It's a very good shin guard, certainly not the best for the amount of money that it costs, but if it's something that interests you, it is one that I can recommend. It just wouldn't be my pick if I was going to be spending this much money on a pair of shin guards. So that's it for my review, guys. Let me know down below in the comments if you have any questions at all, or leave your opinions on the Mercurial Blade Hinge shin guards. Is it overpriced? Is it priced just right? And what do you think of the Hinge design? Is it a good idea or something that is a little bit gimmicky and more or less unnecessary? Because that is kind of my opinion on it. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. If you guys are interested in more info as well as where to purchase a pair of Mercurial Blade Hinge shin guards below their retail price, be sure to check out the review page, a link down below in the description. It's on my website, soccerreviewsforyou.com. You'll find the high quality images as well as buy it now link with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where again you can pick these up below retail price. So be sure to check that out if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself. If you have any questions at all, again, the comment section is there to be used. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.